ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. So we had a long break, the puja break. So wish you all happy Dashera and happy Diwali. So after Dashera and Diwali, we are meeting here. We will continue with our study of the Bhagavad Gita. We were in the 9th chapter, and we saw that from the 12th verse, that Krishna was actually speaking of the attitude of the non-believers. That will be elaborated again in the 16th chapter. The entire chapter is actually termed as Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. So there it will be elaborated, but here in concise we found that those who are of that Asuri Prakriti. Asura means that those who are non-believers, those who doesn't believe in any afterlife, in any spiritual dimension of our existence. There we find that he was saying that they are bound to meet a fate in their life. What is short of that egoistic attitude will develop, and that will be bound to lead to some sort of frustrations, complications in life, and that was been dealt from the 12th verse we saw. And then in the 18th and in the 19th verse, he spoke of the one who has faith. Those are the believers. So now today we will be studying from the 20th to the 22nd. That these mantras, they speak of something in between. It's neither the non-believers nor those who have devotion to the Lord, full of bhakti. They have resigned. Their life, we find, is at peace with themselves. It's not that all the external circumstances will change for them. The life continues as it is. It has its ebbs and its these crests and the ebbs will be there. Ebbs and the tides, the high tide and the low tide of life will be there. But as we find in our life, the maximum suffering comes from the reaction. The life is as it is, but how we react to it, from that the suffering comes. If the happenings contribute to the 10% of our suffering, the 90% of the suffering comes the way we react. And we saw that a devotee that developed a type of spiritual resilience, and which allows them to be at peace with themselves, irrespective of the fact of what's happening in their life. So now they will come in the 20th verse and the 21st verse, something in between, those who are neither the believers nor the non-believers. They believe in the Vedic period. It was highly ritualistic. They were the followers of the karma kanda. The lot of these yajnas used to be performed, and all those yajnas assured that after death, in afterlife, you are going to have some high celestial existence, which will speak of happiness, unadulterated happiness. And we find many think that to be the religion. Even nowadays the yaga yajnas are there, but they have been curtailed. But yajnas may not be there, but still that's the thing we do. We go to the temple, we are all temple goers, and our worship is mainly that. With all our paraphernalia, at last we'll find that we have some desires in our mind. And we feel by praying, those desires will be fulfilled. But it is also a type of materialism. It's not spirituality in true sense. As Swami Vivekananda used to say, a very interesting thing, that where God is the means, world is the end, it is materialism. God is the means. I don't want God. He's just the means for me to acquire something. I pray to Him. He is there to deliver the things which I want, and His role is restricted up to that. I don't want Him. I am quite happy with the so-called all the transient pleasures of life. So for them, these two verses also is something which has a specific meaning. Can that give us ultimate satisfaction? So with this introduction, let us enter into the verse, the 20th verse. Traividya mam somapa putapapa yagyair ishtva swargating prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. So Traividya. So we know that there are three Vedas which gives the description of all these yajnas, the Rik, the Sama, the Yaju. So this all the knowledge which is in these three Vedas, the Karma Kandas of these three Vedas, is the thing which has been indicated as Traividya. Mang Somapa Puta Papa. So this, after the yajna, the remnant of the yajna, the Soma juice, that was taken as something which is the sacred thing, which has been sanctified by the performance of the yajna. It is something equivalent to the prasada, the idea of prasada which we have. So we offer something to the divine, and that food gets sanctified by His touch, and that we take as prasada. The word prasada actually means tranquility. Prasada doesn't mean that sanctified food. The real literal meaning is tranquility. So that's the thing which has been sanctified by the Lord, which I take. It purifies me, it makes me calm, it gives me a type of resilience to face the challenges of life. It purifies me. So this is the idea of this word prasada. The same thing is being indicated by the term this soma. The soma is the sanctified remnant of the offering. So this, by taking that, what happened? Puta papa, all the impurities, that gets removed. I get cleansed by that. Yagyair ishtva swargating prarthayante. I get purified, and then I pray for what? Swarga. That yes, after death, this post-mortem existence, what's that? I enjoy eternal peace in heaven with my forefathers. Those who have passed, it's the Indra Loka. Those who have already passed away, with them I enjoy eternal life. This mortality is here, not there. There we enjoy this Swarga Loka. Te punyam asadya surendra lokam. The surendra is the heaven. Surendra lokam, the loka of the Indra. So with this, all this punya, which I have acquired through this yajna, I attain that loka. Ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. So the devas, by having this, the things which we have offered in the yajna, they deliver us the boon by which we can attain all those heavenly locus. So those who are inclined to the fruitive activity described in the Vedas worship me through these ritualistic sacrifices, being purified from sin by drinking the soma juice, which is the remnant of the yajnas. They seek to go to heaven. By virtue of their pious deeds, they go to the abode of Indra, the king of heaven, and enjoy the pleasures of the celestial gods. So this is the thing which we find actually constituted the main theme of our religion, the Vedic religion. The Jnana Kanda, that's the Upanishads, the Vedanta. That's not the major, that's actually the conclusion of the Vedas. But we find that for the majority, the religion means what? God is the means, this world, or some world which is more refined. Heaven is nothing. This world minus the suffering, nothing else. It's the same sunset world minus the suffering. It's something impossible. It can never be. But that's what is our imagination of heaven. That's the thing which we attain through all this yaga yajnas. So this is the idea which we find, which is being indicated in this 20th verse. And then in the 21st verse, Bhagavan will now say the limitation of this type of religion. You see, performing yajnas, yagas, all these paraphernalia rituals with the idea in the mind that my life will be peaceful. All the hindrances will be removed. So that's the idea. Even nowadays we will find there are so many these pujas at home. It's all done with that purpose. The Vedic religion has came down to what? At last we will find the Satyanarayan Puja, Vipattarani Puja. These are not bad. It's good. But the aim, what's the aim? That I'm facing some challenges in life, and that all will be removed. I will be at, that plus all the problems will be there. I will enjoy the pleasures of life unhindered. So this type of religion has a limitation. What's the limitation? Even naturally we'll find that sometimes we'll find that people just are in crowd, just going where? That someone can cure my disease. We all go, run. It's good. Yes, he has some supernatural powers. Somehow I go, I pray, he cures my disease, he gives me some good job, his blessings enables me to get some good job. People run after such religion. But have we ever questioned that one thing, the simple question, that yes, by the blessing someone has got cured. Is he going to live eternally? No. The disease is there, it is just a patchwork, isn't it? That okay, yes, it's a fact that most probably by the blessing the disease has gone. I was having most probably the doctors told that you are having terminal cancer, there's no cure, and some Baba blessed me, I was cured. But does it assure that I'm going to live eternally? Just for the time being it has happened. Again, some form of decay. This, as Buddha used to say, that the fact of life is dukkha. And why this dukkha? Because there is jara, vyadhi, mrityu. These are the facts of life. Decay, disease, death. No one can avoid it. Swami Vivekananda used to say a very nice thing. There was the law of the universe. The nature gives us in bounty at certain point of time and snatches away everything at certain point of time. With the old folk, that is the problem you will find in the entire world. The old folk always says that the others avoid us. And the young feels that the olds are very boring. They are constantly nagging or something. What? These are the qualifications I have. I really excelled in my life. And I prospered in my life with all my degrees. This is the thing they will be saying. But what now? Nothing is there now. It's all gone. All those things I have achieved. I have achieved. And this is no more there. We forget one thing. Yes, of course, my labor was there, but is it really you achieved? Then why can't you achieve now? If your effort was everything that enabled you to achieve all those things, then what happened now? So it is after all nature. At certain point of time, it is giving you everything. At certain point of time, it is taking away everything from you. There is no power in the world with you. There is no power with you that you can stop that. Our intelligence will go, our strength will go, our vitality will go. So nature gives us everything at certain point of time, takes away everything at certain point of time. There is no way out of it. Only the thing, with all our endeavors, we may prolong to certain extent our happiness. But it is bound to end. It's all relative. That from our standpoint, we feel that if someone says that you are going to live for thousands of years in the heaven, we say, oh, such a long life we are going to enjoy. But it's just relative. When you are in that plane, that life will appear very short. Just a very simple example. If you are having a pet in your house, just a dog or a cat, whatever the pet may be, if the dog or the cat has the capacity to compare the age, it feels we are almost immortal. Almost they will feel that just for 30, 14, 15 years they are just staying in for 100 years. So this almost 7 times that our life is more than this, our pets. So compared to them, our life is almost like eternal. If they have the power to comprehend, they will think, oh, they live almost eternally. Do we feel we live eternally? No. It's a very relative thing. It's a very relative thing. When you are in that plane, in that plane you find again it is ephemeral. So this idea of this span, this big span, also is something very, very elusive. In the modern age, forget about religion. With all our science, what we are doing, that how long we can live. This is one of our main endeavor. With all our medicine, with all our new inventions in this yoga, exercise, food habits, constantly we are trying what? To have a longer life. No one wants to die. But yes, you will find what has happened. Yes, even 10, 20 years back, the average lifespan was most probably 60, 70, and it is now 80, 85 in some advanced nations. But there's an end. You cannot just think of having this life for eternity. So that's the idea which we will find here, which is the limitation of all our worldly pleasures. It's a very, very elusive. It's constantly making us chase something which we are never going to attain. And that's the thing is being indicated in the 21st verse by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. What he is saying? Te tang bhuktva swarga lokang vishalang kshine punye martya lokang vishanti evang trai dharmam anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Tetang bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punya. This is very interesting, that whatever we acquire, there's a limit. One day it will be exhausted. Whatever wealth we acquire, it has to get exhausted. Whatever merits we acquire, that's also is something, a limitation. We cannot have infinite result with something which is finite. However punya, however meritorious act we may do in this life, it's limited. With that, how can I think of unlimited pleasures of heaven? It's never possible. Limited endeavor will give limited result. Kshina punya. A time will come when all my good deeds which I have acquired in this life, that will get exhausted. Then you may say, why should it get exhausted? When I go to heaven, I will continue doing punya, and that will still go on, help me to save my punya and help me to continue my life in Swarga. Very interesting. You'll find our scriptures are very scientific that way. They say in all the beings, whether it's the lower beings compared to our human birth, the lower beings, or even the celestial beings, the higher birth, among all this entire gamut of creation, only human beings are responsible. No one are responsible for their acts. When a lion pounces on its prey, from our standpoint we may say it's cruel, but that's his instinct. That's the way it lives. It is not responsible, it is not committing any sin by doing that. It's not committing any sin. Why? Because as a human being, all other creatures are governed by instinct. We have something called rationality, that we can choose. Suppose, just a simple example, that I am hungry, I sat for my lunch or my dinner, and then suddenly someone comes, he's famished for a few days, couldn't get any food, and comes and begs for food. As a human being, I have the capacity, okay, let me forego my dinner. It won't harm me. Yes, I will be a bit hungry, but it's not going to harm me in any way. This person may die. Let me share my meal or just give my entire meal to this person. As a human being, I have that choice. I can do that. And just think of your pet. These two dogs are playing, the puppies are playing. They're as if such intimate friends, and just go and throw a crumb of bread in between them. Immediately they will start fighting. There is no question, okay, let me forego my meal. There's no question. It's their instinct. So this word responsibility is very interesting. Responsibility is responsibility. So as a human being, we are the only responsible being. We have the ability to respond. Others don't have. Even in this life, you will find those who are extremely rich, they sometimes lose the capacity of the ability to respond. This extreme obsession with the wealth make them almost something instinctual. And again, those who are extremely poor, they are constantly just struggling for their existence. For them also, the question of choice is almost very limited. The one somehow is in between. For them, we find that they have this capacity to choose the options, that how to respond to a particular situation. They have that capacity. So here human beings are placed in that situation. They are the only responsible beings. And we accrue the results of our action when we are having the capacity to respond. If we are forced to act as per instinct, then we don't accrue any results of the karma. So the lower beings just exhaust the karmas which they have accrued in the human birth. All the higher beings also exhaust the karma which they have accrued in this human birth. So that way this human birth is very special, because here we are responsible. So after going to heaven, we can be certain of the fact that we will be just exhausting our good karmas to come back again in this world. Kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. Again we have to come down. So this cycle will go on. It's not that we attain something and stay there forever. So evam trai dharmam, the anuprapanna, those who are adherents of this trai dharma, of this dharma which has been enunciated in the karma kand of these three Vedas. Gata gatam kama kama lavante. By the desires which we are desiring, we attain that. The results which we attain, at last it gets exhausted. The merits gets exhausted. Again we have to come down. So this gata, this coming and going continues. There is no end to it. The transmigration goes on. So that's how the idea of heaven is something like the will of the wisp. That you have heard that word, this will of the wisp, alaya. That because of the photoluminescence, this fluorescence that's in the marshy land, that suddenly you see some light. In the olden days, they used to think that it must be the way some evil spirit is trying to delude us by taking us off-road, by straying us. We don't get any as such tangible result by chasing it. So all these yajnas are also like that will of the wisp. It ultimately is not giving us any happiness. Very interestingly, throughout our life we will find, as long as we are keeping happiness in the future, it's very elusive. It never comes. As a small child, we found our parents said, study well. You will go to a good selective school and you will be happy. When we are in the selective school, still we have to struggle. Parents says what? That yes, if you get into a good professional course in the university, you will be happy. Again future. When we are there, study well. Don't waste your time. If you can really excel in your academics, you will get a good job, you will be happy. Again future. When you are having a good job, okay, when you get married, you will be happy. You're married and you have children, and you know when 20 years have passed, you don't know. And now, then at last, many say that we find only the middle-aged person in our religious congregations, very few. Why, yes, they have came at last. After death, Swarga. There we will be happy. So we have acquired some punya. It's always future. So that's how it is elusive. Swami Vivekananda used to give a very nice example that our chase for the happiness of life, how is it? He used to say that, the bullocks were used in the olden days to grind the oil seeds. Then the grinding wheel, they will be tied to the grinding wheel, and some straw will be just hanged in front of them. With the help of some stick, they will hang some straw. And now there is no need for anyone to actually direct the bullock to go round and round. The bullock will be just trying to get the bunch of straw which is hanging in front of it. It moves and the grinding wheel goes on moving. It never reaches the straw. And our condition is also like that. Just Mahamaya, the illusion, that's why it is called Maya. The word Maya means Ma plus Ya, Maya. Ya means Yatha, as it is. Ya means Yatha, as it is. And Ma is a negation of that. The way I look at the life, I think it is as it is. The happiness is just waiting for me. Maya, it's not so. It's a negation. It's constantly fooling us. That's Maya. That's why Swamiji used to say it's the statement of fact. That the life with a rational mind, if we sit down and just think, it can never give us happiness. But we constantly somehow are befooled to think that yes, all happiness lies there. And we are chasing. So it's making us go round and round this cycle of birth and death. We think that we are going to get this bunch of straw which we never get. All this chase for pleasure, wealth, long life, happiness, everything. Life after life, we are on this Ferris wheel going round and round. So that's the thing which is being indicated in this verse. That there is no, even in this, we find this grinding wheel is the cycle of the life. The bullock is actually represents a human being. The straw is the object of our desire. And the power, this owner, the one who is making us do that is the owner, the Mahamaya, that he is making us go round and round. Even in the modern context, you will find the same thing. That when Buddha said, very interesting thing, when Buddha came out from the realization, he spoke of the fourth truth. The first truth, what is? That there is dukkha. There is dukkha. Now when we translate, we say there is dukkha means suffering. There is suffering. It's a wrong translation. The word dukkha doesn't mean suffering. Dukkha means dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction. You must say both are same. Both are not same. Suppose you are enjoying a dish which you really relish. And someone comes and asks, are you enjoying? Yes, of course I'm enjoying. I'm not suffering. I'm enjoying. And then he asked, are you satisfied? Then you find, already when I'm eating, already have developed the craving for the second serve. I've already developed the craving. After this, I will go for the second serve. So, are you suffering? Of course not. Are you satisfied? It's a big question mark. So, that's the thing. Dukkha is not suffering. It is dissatisfaction. That we are never satisfied in this life. Why? The second truth speaks of that. Because there is Trishna, Tanha, Trishna. This unending quench for something which is very elusive. It's a flow. I can never hold on to it. I'm always trying to have a grasp of it. And that's what in the modern psychological term they speak of as is a treadmill. In a treadmill you are constantly running, but you're running in the same place. So that's why they call it hedonistic treadmill. Hedonistic means hellish. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, ever running, never reaching, nor a distant glimpse of shore. That's the hedonistic treadmill. We're constantly running to get something, we're chasing, we never reach that. And that's what life is. And we are constantly being deluded. Even in the modern life, we find that's the thing. Promotion, possession, social validation. All those things are like that eternal chase. We are, in the words of Swami Vivekananda, we are all mustached babies. He used to say, babies, but that we have grown, physically we have grown older, we are having mustache, but actually we are babies. Why? When the baby cries, the mother gives something to suck. The suckling baby immediately calms down for the time being. And we as the mustached babies suddenly cry out, Mahamaya for the time being gives us something to suckle on, and we are satisfied. Again we cry, and this is going on. Constantly, there is no validation. And at last, this eternal fulfillment is not there. And that's the thing Bhagavan is speaking of. But now the question comes, but this chase for the worldly pleasures of life, even if it doesn't give me dissatisfaction, ultimate satisfaction, but at one thing, I have to sustain myself. So I need to go for my work, I need to do what I am doing. So here, after this, Bhagavan will say something very interesting. That this again is an illusion. The idea of karta and bhokta, that you are the doer, you are the enjoyer, this has kept you in this delusion. If you can really go beyond that, if you can say, oh Lord, I just depend on you and can leave your both arms, there's an interesting thing, when it's not very easy. When the first batch of sannyasa was happening, when Swami Vivekananda returned from the West, many were, that highly inspired by Swamiji. They came to join the order, and they joined the order as brahmachari, and after a few years, when they were entitled for sannyasa, they went and prayed for sannyasa to Swami Vivekananda, and Swami Vivekananda to one of them was saying, it's not easy. If I ask you to just climb this tree, a tall tree, and just jump from the topmost branch, releasing both your hand, saying, oh God, it's only up unto you I depend, nothing else. Can you do that? He was a very enthusiastic person. He of course said yes. Swami Vivekananda never requested, but it actually had a different meaning. What's the thing? That can I totally surrender to the divine? Saying that I just totally depend on you. If we can do that, you will get the result. Even in India in the present day, if you go to this Narmada, you will find many do Narmada Parikrama. And many of them won't have a single pie in their pocket. Just they move out. This is the idea of this Paribrajak sannyasi. What's the basic idea? That I won't have any means of sustenance, let me move out. You will find that when you are totally helpless, the plan of the nature is such that God through the nature will provide you. If you can totally resign, you may. So in India, most probably we have the tradition of giving bhiksha to a mendicant. Is it possible in the foreign country? Swami Vivekananda is the greatest proof. He went to the West, almost penniless, going through the street before the Parliament of Religion, traveling down the street, hungry, famished, no food. What to speak of attending the religion? He doesn't have credentials. He thought, I'm a fool. I came here without any credentials. Totally helpless, just at last tired, sitting by the side of the street, and someone comes from this hell family, the mother hell, invites her. If you have read the life of Swami Vivekananda, in his life so many times it happened. He sometimes experimented on it, that today I won't go out for bhiksha, I am sitting here. That until my death, I won't beg for food. Let me see if God provides. And suddenly, he was in the railway station, and one rich Marwari person comes and brings lot of food. And Swami Vivekananda was very much surprised. What happened? He told, no, my Lord has directed me. Well, how come? Well, yesterday night he had a dream. This Lord Rama came to his dream. And he has directed that this food has to be offered in any person you see that as a mendicant, go and offer, knowing that it's me and me alone. It's not only, I'm just saying of the life of Swami, when you read any of the life of these holy men, they actually had this result in their, palpably, they have felt in their life that if you totally resign, the Lord is there to provide you. It's not only the saints, even we have realized. Recently I went to some interfaith meet. The interfaith meet was on some topic, this unconditional love. So all the speakers, I was also one of the speakers, we all spoke on unconditional love. And then there was a question answer session. Someone from the audience stood up and said, oh, you all spoke so much of unconditional love. But do we see unconditional love in this world? Is there any demonstration? And we were really thinking on that question. Yet, he has asked a very nice question. Now it is everywhere so much selfishness. And then one of the speakers immediately reflected very nicely. He said, you are the product of unconditional love. Well, when you were born, totally helpless, who took care of you? Who took care of you? The Lord has created the mother, but the mother doesn't take care. Even if the mother doesn't want, she will find there is something almost insisting from within. God has implanted that motherly love in each and every mother. What to speak of humans? Go to the animal kingdom. Is there any mother who is not taking care of the child? He has programmed that in the Gita, in the second chapter, we were reading that Sahayagya Praja Srishtva. When God created the Praja, all this creation, living beings, He created along with Yagya. And we translate Yagya as the fire sacrifice. No. In Gita, the word Yagya has a very much elaborate meaning. What? In the fire sacrifice, what we do? We offer something, because fire is the mouth of the Devas. Fire god is the mouth of the Devas. I offer, and the oblations are carried. The fire carries everything to the Devas. Fire moves upwards, it carries everything to the Devas, it's the mouth of the Devas, and the Devas are pleased. In return, they give us rain, they give us crops. So that was the idea, that I give something in oblation, I get something in return. So, if I take the meaning of Yagya in a broader sense, the entire world is a Yagya. But it's interdependence. Everything is interconnected. Nothing is just segregated, can live segregated, totally cocooned from the entire existence. There has to be the interplay, interbeing. It has to be. You will find even in the story of this Krishna as a small boy, when he just ate a lump of clay, Yashoda, as like any other mother, pressed the cheek to open the mouth. Instead of the clay, what she found the entire universe there. Vishwarupa Darshana. And we think that it is something supernatural, but we don't have the eyes of Yashoda. If we have the eyes of Yashoda, we also are supposed to see the entire universe in a lump of clay. You go to this, in the central part of Australia, which is all desert, you won't find clay. It's all sand. Where you find clay? Where life is, there only clay can form. It's the decomposed life which at last gets converted into this clay. It's all decomposed. This earth is, after all, the eternal graveyard of the past. Is all the living forms. They decompose to form this clay. So where there is clay, there must have been some plant, some tree that has decayed and at last has got converted into clay. Where there is tree, there must be sun. Where there is tree, there must be sun, there must be water, there must be all the minerals. Not a single mineral has been created here. It's all star dust. In some star, all these minerals has been created. The star dust, these are the minerals which has been assimilated by the tree. And what the tree is? So if you can see that clay properly, you can see the sun, you can see the entire existence there. The tree, the sun, the water, everything, the entire existence you can see there. Because it's all interrelated. Nothing can stand as it is segregated from the entire universe. And that's the idea of yajna. Saha yajna praja srishtva. When God created the creation, He created with the idea of yajna. That yajna is in the mother's heart in the form of motherly love. It is a God who is finding expression through the motherly love. Mother is just the channel through which God's love is flowing. So this is the interplay which we see everywhere. God is taking care of everything. We as a human being think that if I don't have a pie in my pocket, I'm going to die. Does any other creature think that way? The birds, the animals, who is providing? So if we can say that God, I surrender, it's you who take care. Even in now, it's always that's the idea of bhiksha. That when I go out begging as a monk, that I'm going to beg out for food. What's the idea? That God has implanted that compassion in the heart of every being. Through that, God only will be acting. God will be acting through that compassion to provide me, who depends on Him alone. Nothing else. That's the idea of bhiksha. It is not just a simple act that I am a lazy fellow, don't do work and go out for begging. No. I want to experience the hands of the divine through the compassion in each and every being. And that's the idea of this bhiksha, totally dependent. And that's the assurance God is giving. That, okay, that in your life we struggle, we have our maintain our family, everything is okay. But that spiritual idea should be there. That if at last, after doing everything, I resign to God, I need not bother that if today my job goes, what will happen? This constant we'll find in the present day, in the present scenario. Most of the people are suffering because of this uncertainty. And there the dependence comes. It's not that we say that you just leave everything and sit down. God will be doing. No. God has given us all those faculties. We use the faculties knowing well God has given me. I am using them. But after that, there it ends. Now I know if I resign to Him, He will make some way or other. I don't know what. But He has His own way to provide me. This is the assurance which God is giving in the next verse. What He's saying is this 22nd verse, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. This is one of the most important verses in Bhagavad Gita. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Pariyupasate Teshang Nityabhiyuktanang Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. These words are so significant, each and every word. Ananyas Chinta, Anya. Anya means others. An is a negation. Forgetting everything else. That speaks of Ananya. Only God, nothing else. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. The one who thinks of me forgetting everything else. Ye Jana Pariyupasate. That's how he's resorting to me. Teshang Nityabhiyuktanam. Thus I provide them what? Yoga and Kshema. By associating myself with them always, I provide yoga and Kshema. So here this word yoga and Kshema has a specific meaning. Yoga means union. We all know yoga means union. But generally we think it's a spiritual union. That now I am forgetful about my own nature. I get reunited with my Atman. Or those who are a devotee, I get united with my Ishvara. That is yoga. But here the word yoga is taken in a much more broader sense. Any union is yoga. What's that? I desire something. It is not mine now. That I want a job, I want wealth. These are aprapti, the things which I haven't attained. Praptasya prapti, the things which I am, apraptasya prapti, the things which are not mine at present. I attain them through certain endeavor. When I attain, I get united with that. So this yoga means to attain something which I am desiring to attain. I am aspiring to attain. So whether it is my position in life, wealth, whatever it is, as long as I haven't attained, I am aspiring, and that aspiration takes me there. That is called yoga. To get the thing which I desire is yoga. And what is kshema? Kshema is protection. You will find our entire life is spent in these two, nothing else. Kshema is what? Once I attain, again the fear comes. If I lose it, to preserve that, isn't it? So to attain in our life, what we are doing? Just we are trying for a job, trying for wealth, trying for relations. And then again the fear comes. When I get it, I may lose that. To protect that. Yoga Kshema. So this, all our endeavors can be defined by this, can be categorized by these two words. Broadly, at last, you will find these are the two things all our endeavor speaks of. Yoga Kshema. To attain something which I desire, and after I attain, to preserve it. The Lord is saying, this both of these things, this acquiring and preserving, I not only give you, vahamyaham, I carry. For my devotee, I carry. This word vahamyaham is very important. There's a nice story of Sridhar Swami when he was writing this commentary on Bhagavad Gita. He came to this verse and he found that must be a mistake. How can God is the Almighty? He is the giver. How can He be carrying for me? He is my Lord. How can He carry as if carrying something on His shoulder? A servant carries for the master. How can the Lord carry for me? So he thought there must be a mistake, and he just crossed over this vahamyaham, and with his own pen wrote dadamyaham, I give. And then it was a time for going to he was in a village, and now it was time for him to have deep in the village pond, has to go have a bathe in the village pond. So he told his wife that keep my food, everything ready. I am just coming. I will just go have my bathe in the village pond, have a dip in the pond, and then I will come back and I will have food. And now, just within 5 minutes, this Sridhar Swami left, and his wife found that he came back. And what happened? Didn't you go for a bathe? Well, no. I just remembered something, that I have made some mistake. I will just correct it and then again go. So he came and scribbled something on the book on the notebook on which he was writing, all these papers on which he was writing. He scribbled again something and then he left. And then after half an hour, again he came back, and he came and he saw that the dadamyam again has been cut, and again it has been written vahamyam. And he was surprised. Who have done it? He asked his wife, who has done it? Well, just you only came. You told that, you mentioned that you have, something came to your mind, you have to write something, and that way in 5 minutes after you left, within 5 minutes you came and you corrected. And then Sridhar Swami realized it was God Himself. It was God Himself who came in the disguise of Sridhar Swami, and again that re-edited it and kept it at vahamyaham, to assure that it is He who carries. Just the way, you may be a very good, an accomplished person in your profession. When you are returning home, the small child is there, and you know that he likes something, the burger of the McDonald's, you carry. It's you carry it, isn't it? God that way carries it. He carries. When He knows that, yes, someone is really depending on me, He do carry. There's a nice story of Sri Ramakrishna, that one day in Vaikuntha, in the heavenly abode, Vishnu and Lakshmi, they were sitting side by side, and suddenly Vishnu got up. He was hurrying. And Lakshmi asked, what happened? Well, no, just now I saw one of my devotee. He was so absorbed in my thought. He was walking down the street, and in the olden days, the washermen used to they will wash the cloth and they will spread it on the ground itself to dry. And this man didn't notice because he was so absorbed in my thought. He just trampled over one of those washed cloth. And this washerman is terribly angry. With a stick, he is chasing my devotee. I have to save my devotee. So that's why Vishnu hurried, was going to save. And in no time, he came back. Lakshmi said, what happened? We were just going to save your devotee. What happened? Oh, no, he has picked up a stone. He has picked up a stone to save himself. So God is going to save you till you have picked up something. That's the idea. So this Nitya Bhiyukta Ananda stories are so nice. The simple stories, but it makes a lot of sense. That as a small child, that's the helpless child. If you see that mother's love is there. God is taking care of His creation. Even the same, this Sridhar Swami's this story is very interesting. This another story goes this way, that when he thought of renouncing that he was a householder. Now his wife passed away. He had a small child. That's the time tremendous extreme renunciation came. And he thought of renouncing, but now this child is there. How can I live? So this story is, I don't know how much truth, but the ideas behind is very interesting. When he was contemplating thus, that how can I renounce? I have this child is dependent on me. And then he saw that just an egg of a lizard hatched. And the small lizard came out, and one fly was just flying in front of it. Immediately its tongue came out, and that fly got stuck on its tongue. And immediately Sridhar Swami said, it is just born, and it knows what to do, and God has also provided that food for him. So God is there to provide. So okay, let me just depend on live. So it's, if you one thing Sri Ramakrishna used to say, bhabher ghore jano churi na thake. That if you are really feeling that way, that's really something God is going to take care. But if just to escape from our responsibilities we feel, of course, that speaks of bhabher ghore churi, that you are there is a theft in your, in your real belief system. There's a theft there. So if you are really feeling that way, that I totally depend on the Lord is going to take care of Yogakshema. Not only that, even at last he will say that you will attend me. That it's here they are speaking of Yogakshema, that your so-called worldly needs are taken care of. But one who can resign, at last he only can get Lord. We can never attain the divine by our own endeavor. It's impossible. That all these spiritual practices, all these various traditions, they can never help us to attain the Lord. We can never attain Lord by our own effort. All this effort has a negative implication. What's the negative implication? Through all this effort, at last a sense of helplessness comes. I cannot attain all these things with my attempt. And then the true resignation comes. Oh Lord, help me out. And then only you are helped. We are all helped. Sri Ramakrishna used to say a very nice thing, that the wind of the kripa, yes, always flowing, but the wall of the ego obstructs it. That ego, that it is I who can do this. I am the karta, I am the bhukta, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. From the ego, these ideas generate. As long as it is there, the wind of kripa, the grace, cannot help. Actually, the grace alone can save us. But this wall of ego is there, which is not allowing. Once this ego falls off, then the Lord is there to take care of us. What all our sadhanas do, all our spiritual practices, in the words of Sri Ramakrishna, it's just to tire our wings, danabatha. That he is to give a very nice example. A bird was sitting on the mast of a ship. The ship was in the deep waters of the ocean. And now the bird felt like flying to the shore. It flew to the east, couldn't get any land, came back, again sat on the mast, took a little rest, went to the west, got tired, came back, took a little rest, couldn't find any land, to the north, to the south, nowhere it found any land. At last, it resigned, sat there. Let the ship take me where it has to take. So all these practices were just to tire your wings. And then the true resignation comes. Before that, it is just a mouth of word. We say, "O Lord, thy will be done," but we whisper within bracket, "in my way." It has, "thy will be done in my way." As long as that in bracket, "in my way" is there, that's not true resignation. The true resignation is that really you feel that you are helpless. That's how this Purushakara and Kripa, there's a wonderful synthesis. Through Purushakara, we never get anything. But at last, we do realize that nothing can be attained by my will. And then God takes care. It doesn't take care, it happens almost automatically. Just today's class, we will end with an example that how resignation is the ultimate thing in spiritual life. Now suppose you have climbed a tree and you are holding onto the branch of a tree and sitting there. Now you think, let me have a free fall. Then what you do? The only thing you do is just release the hold from the branch. Does it entail in any effort? No effort. You just have to release the hold, the gravity will pull you down, isn't it? Similarly, we are holding onto the branch of the tree called samsara. Name, fame, power, position, prestige, all those things we are holding. And sometimes it so happens that we are on the branch of a tree holding onto the branch, and maybe there are some ants, insects, it starts biting us. What we do? We get hold of another branch and release this, isn't it? Oh, otherwise we will fall. So for most of us, our religion is like that. It is another branch. We hold to that to get release of this branch which is tormenting me. So many things are just biting me. Oh, God, God, God. But again, we find there is no God in our life. Because again, actually, we have named another branch as God and holding on to it. At last, that resignation should come. Just the way when you release your hold, gravity pulls you down. In this tree of samsara, it is upward down. You will find Urdhva Mula Dhastaka, the 15th chapter. Our root is the spiritual. And the constant, this wind, the force of grace is constantly moving upwards. Like the gravitation moves downwards. Here in this tree which is, that facing downward, Urdhva Mula Adhasakha, there the grace is the thing which is moving upward. If we can really release, the grace takes us there directly. So that's all our practices are at last to have that resignation. And that's the thing which Bhagavan is assuring. Here he is assuring that just forget everything and think of me. I will take care, I will carry for you this yoga kshema. And again, we will find in the last chapter, he will say, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhya mokshayishyami. This at last I will liberate you. So, and that's again the same thing, that the grace. So this grace is the factor which we haven't realized in our life. Once we realize, we will find the treasure is here just near our hand. We have to just change our attitude. There's a nice song of Rabindranath that Amar Shakol niye boshe achi সর্বনাশের আশায় আমি তার পানে চেয়ে আছি যে জন পথে ভাষায়. So it's not very easy. We think that he actually tests that way. When you say that I am yours, God first will really test you in this life by giving you so many challenges, and you will find that as if I am going to be destroyed. But still, if you can hold on to that idea, the Lord alone is there to save me. I resign to you alone. Whatever hardships may come, He is going to take care of you. In Bengali, there's a very nice this couplet. Je kore amar ash, ami kori tar sarbonash. Tobuo je kore amar ash, ami hoi tar dasher das. So that's very interesting. That's dasher das, vaham meham. That the one who can really resign on me, I become as if his servant. As Sri Ramakrishna says, At the beginning of our spiritual life, God is the magnet. We are just the needle. It is a small needle. He has a tremendous force to attract us. And when we ripen in our devotion, at last we become the magnet. God becomes a small needle. Our devotion pulls him. He makes him do whatever is beneficial for me. And that's the assurance of God alone. So that with this, we just conclude our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar. Again, we'll continue the next class.